In this review we look at another model that was announced at the Bauma 2025 exhibition. The branded box tells you that it's a Palfinger model, and it's a promotional item made for Palfinger. There you can see the truck inside the box, and if we turn it around we see this is a WSI model, and it's a Scania G with a Palfinger hook lift and a PK 370 TEC Loader Crane.
Let's weigh it up.
The box makes its way onto the weighbridge and it comes in at just about £2 1 ounces, and that is 940 grams. To get to the model we need to slide the insides out and pull off the outer sleeve. There's a plastic former which protects the model, and it rests in black foam. It's nice that the foam has finger holes so that you lift the model out in the right way, and there's no assembly to do because it's complete out of the box. There are also a couple of bags of parts.
Let's weigh it up again.
We drive the truck onto the weighbridge and it's just over £1 4 ounces or 580 grams. As usual we start underneath and it's a 6x4 chassis, and it is the WSI's normal high standards. The drive shaft runs through to the detailed rear axles, and there's a pair of stabilisers at the back. Various tanks and boxes are modelled, and it's always good when there are different tyres on the driven and steered axles. The roof of the cab has a non-see-through roof light, and there is a light bar with a couple of beacon lights. The front of the Scania is impressively modelled, and particularly good is the etched grille, and there are tiny graphics to go along with it. This model does not have a license plate, and that's because it's generic. A really nice touch are the protection grilles on the headlights. Moving on to the side of the cabin is a Palfinger graphic, and the door mirrors are nicely shaped. The decoration on the cab is also very good, and details include a door handle and nicely textured steps leading up into the cab. There's also an indicator on the wheel arch. The wheels have a nice detailed trim. Moving on, behind the cab and the fuel tank is protected by a frame, and the filler cap is nicely highlighted. Detailing on the loader crane is also really good, with a particularly fine set of controls, and they're excellent given the small size. Moving further back and you can see that the box has a handle indicated by graphics. The wheel arches are well formed and there are smart looking rear wheels, and the rear stabiliser is fully retracted and tidy. At the back the lights have plastic lenses, and there's also a towing hitch. The underrun bar also has decoration, and the tiny lights also look smart. The dump body is a solid metal casting, and there's some detailing at the back of the rear tailgate. With the hook lift operational you can see there is plenty of Palfinger branding, and the hook lift modelling is very good. The front stabilisers are 2-stage and there are some small graphics applied, and there are tiny hydraulic rams. The pads and spreader plates are metal. The rear stabilisers are simple, and like the front they have smooth pistons. The loader crane boom is modelled very well with thin walls. Each section has a piston and there's a hook at the end. At the front the steering axle has what is best described as a moderate angle of steering, and the rear axles spin freely enough. Out on the Cranes etc. superhighway the model isn't completely free rolling, as there seems to be an amount of friction in the axles. The steering is a touch loose so you get some degree of self-steering, but if you do set the steering you can get a moderate angle of turn. A nicely working feature on the model is the tilting cab, and that gives you a good look at the detailed engine. And it's made up of a number of different components. To begin with, let's tip the dump body, and the hydraulic rams have a nice stiffness. The tipping angle is maybe a touch shallow, but the biggest issue is that the tailgate doesn't open, so you don't really get a realistic looking pose. The hook lift mechanism has been implemented really well, and it's a very nice piece of model engineering. As the name suggests, you hook onto the container, or in this case the dump bed, and then you use the hydraulics to lift it and drag it onto the back of the truck. The hydraulics are stiff enough so you can hold the pose at any point that you want. So many different display options are possible. Once it's onto the truck, you then pull it forward using again the hydraulics of the hook lift system. Let's now move on to the loader crane. And the first thing we should do is to lower the stabilizers. The ones at the rear are simple and you just unscrew them to lower them. And there's enough extension on the rams that you can get the pad down to ground level. The loader crane outriggers are a bit different. The beams are in two stages and you just pull them out, and then you rotate the leg around and unscrew the pads as before. Also included with the model are some small spreader plates, and you can use these to achieve a realistic setup. Although being so small, it's easy for them to become dislodged. With the whole system set up, you can achieve a wheels-free pose. Now we're ready to unfold the loader crane, and the hydraulic rams are very stiff. So the trick is to carefully and slowly open it up, and when you get it part way you can then also rotate it. After that, the next thing to do is to telescope out the boom, and it's made up of quite a number of separate sections. They are all quite close fitting, so it's fairly tight to pull it out, but again that also means it'll do a good job of holding a pose.
Time for a dim check.
Let's get the tape out with the boom reaching for the heights, and we get to about 14 inches or 36 centimeters. Included with the model are two work tools, and the first is a set of forks, and these just hang off the small hook at the end of the boom. You can also adjust the chain on the frame in order to achieve a balance when there's a load on board. The second tool is a mini grab, and it's a nice little metal part, and you can fully open it up. So you can pose it different ways. However, one thing not quite so good is that the grab has been designed with a pinned connection, and you can just see there's a tiny small pin which is removable. But unfortunately the hook at the end of the boom has been riveted on, so it's not easily removable to add the grab. Instead you have to hang it off the hook, which doesn't look so good. WSI's Palfinger models are always complex pieces of model engineering. In this case that applies to both the hook lift and the loader crane, and the functionality of both is really good. Add to that, they are also nicely detailed. And of course WSI's trucks are to a high standard. Overall this model has enough to be going for it to be rated as excellent.